Peter? Okay. So if we go here, I will say between a rock and a hard place. Now that's a very common expression in English, right? And it means that you have a difficulty in choosing between two options.
Okay.
I've had this job offer, and it's more money.
Okay.
Quite like the people I'll be working for, but my current company's really looked after me really well. So I don't know what to do. I'm between a rock and a hard place.
Oh, perfect.
See that? So it's, in other words, a rock and a hard place, are two hard things, right?
Okay.
And it's like between a rock and a hard place says, it's a difficult choice. Either way, it's I don't know what to do, right? That's what it means between a rock and a hard place.
Thank you.
Okay. So what we'll do is, because I've written it into the chat, I'll get recorded. So we got to between from through. A few more examples on through. Here's a good one. The sun was streaming through the window. Yeah. See that?
Okay. Yes.
Through. It was coming through it. So it's not the same as between, right? Between is like there's a door between one room and the other.
Okay.
But Mona gracefully walked through the door. Yeah, get my drift. Is that making sense now?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll leave that word there then. Let's come back to our list. So we did through, and then there's through a ball, and then now this is a strange one. Trough. You see, so this is a bit like the rough and tough, but it's trough. It's not trough. Yeah, it's trough. It's not trough. It's not trough. You'd think if it sounded like that, it would be trough, right? But it's not trough. It's trough. Trough. Right. So it's all, yeah. So it's almost like, let me do this. Trough. I'll say sounds like T-R-A-O-F. Sounds like that. See that?
Perfect.
Yeah, trough. And then what a trough is it's the receptacle that animals would feed out of.
Like a river or something like that?
No. It would be let me show you what it is. You'll see, you'll understand exactly what it is when I show you a picture. Let's do a picture. Along that, for animals to eat or drink out of, right? So let's do an image, a trough.
Water trough.
There you go. There's a trough. See that?
Yeah,
These are troughs. See, that's what a trough is. Yeah. So long, narrow thing. Animals feed there. That's what a trough is. Okay. So we've done trough. It's unusual. Now this word is also from the farming area, but it's not plough, right? It's plough. Plough. Okay. Plough. Now I'm saying that with an Irish accent because I've got an Irish accent, right? And there's certain words where the accent comes out very strongly, and that's one of them, right? Plough.
Plough.
The English would say plough, but we say plough. We say plough, right? So that's just a strong. I can even hear my own accent there, right? So plough. So this is also from farming. Here, and so here's the plough. So it's what the tractor is pulling to turn up the ground. And this, the picture here, this one here is the traditional plough where you would have two horses pulling it, or oxen, would pull a plough. Yeah. It makes sense.
This is to work in a farm with the tractor.
Yeah, it's specifically that piece of machinery though. The
That
plough
thing.
is, yeah, that thing that churns up the ground, turns it over. That is a
Okay.
plough. Now, the word is also used metaphorically. You know that word metaphorically?
No.
No, I don't.
No? Right, so so a metaphor is where you say, it's where you use one word to mean something else as a picture. So for example, how's things in your life, Alan, today? I would say, oh, the sun is shining. But I don't mean the sun is shining, literally. I mean, everything's good, I feel good. That's what I would mean. So if I was speaking metaphorically.
Metaphorically.
Yes, that's quite an important word to get, right? A metaphor, let's look it up, right? Metaphor and metaphorically. Let's look up these two words. Did you already know these, Mona? So,
Yes, teacher, but I have one question.
hold the thought. Let me just show. Here's a really good example. It's popping up, right? And then I'll let you ask you a question. So there you go. Here's an example. You are my sunshine, right? Now
Okay.
we say that to people if we kind of love them, right? We say, you're my sunshine. Like a parent might say that to his child, right? You know, to the daughter comes up. Like I could say to Marcy, you know Marcy. Angela doesn't know Marcy, but you know Marcy. I could say, you're my sunshine, right? Now I don't mean she's really. You see how I'm using it metaphorically. It's a metaphor for happiness and warmth and stuff like that.
Here
Or
in
I could.
Argentina, oh, sorry, it's similar. It's metáfora.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. Excellent. Now
Yeah.
you've taught me some Spanish. Thank you.
Yeah, well.
She has a heart of gold, right? Now that doesn't mean that she's got metal in her heart. Obviously, it means that she's got a really good heart. We're using gold because it's a precious metal metaphorically to say something about a person. So we're getting what a metaphor is, right? And when you speak in metaphors. Now, Mona, you had a question.
Teacher, excuse me. I had a question about pronunciation. That's how we can realize that when about word trough and next word that I forgot that you told us both of them is written by GH.
Yes, that's right.
Like, yes, trough and plough. How we can realize that? How you should pronounce them?
Practice and reading and listening. There is there's no formula. There's no way for you to look at it and figure it out. You just have to know.
Okay.
Right. All right. So you, in time and with practice, lots of practice, you'll know that that's plough. That's pronounced plough, and you'll know what it is. It's a picture. Yeah.
Okay.
And that's trough. And plough is used metaphorically a lot as well by saying like, oh, he was ploughing his furrow, right? Now, the furrow is a thing that you dig in the ground with the plough. That V-shaped thing, when it cuts through the ground, you see, there's a V shape.
Okay.
And yeah, and so you could say again metaphorically, well, he was ploughing his own furrow, right? He was doing his own thing. Is what would mean by that. Or you'd say, oh, Alan looked really worried. His brow was all furrowed. Yeah. Yeah. So let me.
Teacher, I have a question about the class. Is this a paid class or this is an exchange of language? How can I help others sometime?
Yeah. Okay. Good question. So
I
this.
didn't knew. I saw the Zoom meeting, and this is very interesting for me.
Sure. So I will tell you they're all recorded and they're on YouTube as well. So you can go back. I'll send you the link. And
Okay.
all the previous, there's about 20, 25 recordings. We've been doing this, for instance, about March or April. Is that right, Mona? Can you remember? You were in the very first class. Can you remember when we started?
Yes,
When was it?
I
April?
think that first class, I think that was 4 months ago, I think.
Actually, yeah. So let's go into YouTube. And if I change my thing to switch account to Alan's Advanced English. And if I search for so you know, here they are. Here's previous lessons here. So
On YouTube.
on YouTube, right? So if I go into videos, you see these are all previous lessons. It's quite a lot. There's quite a lot there.
I remember.
So,
Yes.
so the first one was 4 months ago. There you go. Yeah. So that was May. I can still remember the first class. There's Mona there. There's her picture right there. See that?
Okay.
And that's a Spanish girl. And then this here, there's a few. This girl is Io. She's from Colombia, and this is Alida. They're both from Colombia. So this is my Western class, which is really designed for people in the Western Hemisphere because it's a different time. And then the one we're on just now is the Eastern class. This is East, so I usually call them Advanced English East or West. But you can watch any of these if you've got time, and they last about an hour. Sometimes, crazily, they last for 2 hours. This lassie here is from Guatemala City.
I
This
will
guy,
see this picture.
this guy's from China, and this is Wen Jing.
Oh.
She's from China. So you see, this girl is from India. See you, Demi. Bye. Yeah, so you can go back and we also bring on special guests. So this, unfortunately, we lost part of the recording here. That was my bad. But this is an old lady who's 86.
Oh, so
was it, Mona? Yeah, and I get her to talk about her life, kind of thing. You know, so I do different things. I've had 2 special guests. One is this lady, Wendy is her name, and also Udita. We brought Udita on as a special guest 3 months ago. So you can go back over those as well. So even if you miss a class, you can go back and get the recording is the idea. And it's free. It's all free. And so there is no quid. Here's a good word. I bet you don't know this one. Quid pro quo. Do you know that? Quid pro quo. Do you know that? Bet you don't. Quid pro quo.
Quid pro.
Yeah. So let me teach you that, and then you'll understand why I taught you that. So let's go to the browser again.
So you love teaching.
Yes. Well, I'll tell you the story. It turns out I do enjoy it very much, right?
Okay.
But if I go from that to say quid pro quo, meaning, there we go. Doing a favor for somebody in exchange for getting something in return. See that? That's what quid pro quo is. Now, what I said was there is no cost and there is no quid pro quo. So quid pro quo is Latin, right? But it's been brought into English. English steals words from other languages, right?
For
Not,
one thing,
not
for another thing.
yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's what quid pro quo means. Now, so if I said, you know, you can come onto my class for an hour and in return, you've got to teach me Spanish for an hour, that would be quid pro quo. You see,
Una
you
cosa
get me?
por- sí.
Yeah. It's just costing you time. But I don't do that. I'm basically saying, this is just for whatever. But since you speak Spanish and I want to learn Spanish, if you want to chat to me some Spanish, you know,
Yeah.
sometime, I wouldn't do it. I am so I'm so much of a beginner. I wouldn't do it in the class and embarrass myself in front of everybody because I'm like babes in the woods. So my Spanish is nowhere near as good as your English, right? Your English is actually very good. And in fact,
Have
you
you
have to.
Have you ever traveled to South America?
Yep.
You are.
Yeah, I have. But I went to Brazil. I've been to Brazil twice.
Oh, Brazil. Yeah, Rio
Yeah.
de Janeiro,
Yeah, I was in Sao Paulo, but I've
Sao
never
Paulo.
been to Argentina. Argentina. I'm trying to get pronunciation. I've never been to
It's
Mexico.
difficult.
Mexico.
It's difficult now because it's very insecure here.
Yeah, I know. I've heard that you have to sort of make sure that you don't lose your kidneys. They will cut you up and sell your kidneys.
It's a pity
Yeah.
because it's a beautiful country with mountains, sea. It's nice. Buenos Aires, it's so cool, but it's a pity because the government is bad.
Yeah. So I get the same story from most countries in South America, but I don't think it's as bad as there is Venezuela, you know.
Yes.
But we will, because I put it on YouTube, we'll limit the political discussion to like, you know, we won't go any further than that. When
Okay.
we're speaking one-on-one over WhatsApp, which we can do, you can get me your number and I'll give you mine. We can chat freely, but because we put this in YouTube, we need to be cognizant. There's another good word, cognizant.
Cognizant.
Cognizant, yeah, let's look at that word. We're going to be cognizant that you don't want to say anything that will get people
To learn.
upset. No, it doesn't mean learn. Cognizant. So let's define it. Let's define it. I don't want images. I don't want Google images. Just want Google meaning. See, in many ways, when you think about it, cognizant, having knowledge or awareness, okay? That's what cognizant means. So what I'm saying is we're cognizant of knowledge of the fact that other people, the public, Joe Public, can listen into this conversation after the fact because it's on YouTube. Now there's value in that, but I don't want to make it like too political because you think about it, every country, you know, has certain political, so I wouldn't want to, talk about Iran in any detail because there's several, come from Iran. I wouldn't want to speak about, China politically, because I've got some students are from China. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So we just need to be intelligent about that. And obviously, what is really affirming for me is that people are still people no matter what their culture is, right? So before this class started and I met Mona and Elham and others from, I'd never spoken to an Iranian in my life. I had no idea what they were like. Yeah, but then I've got to know these people really quite well and definitely friends now. So, who knew, right? I so it's very interesting. And so somebody brought up in China, they've got a very strong culture there and strong political system and everything. But actually, the people are, fundamentally the same.
Yes,
You know,
very
fundamentally the same. You know, and I've met Wenjing. I even met her parents and everything. Like she's a bit unusual in that she used to work for me when she was in the UK. She came to the UK and worked for me for a while. Just over a summer, really. She did a summer. She was a summer intern in the bank where I'm working. Just, you know, she's here. So, okay, so we learned some words in that. So going back, so there's no cost and there's no quid pro quo. No, there is none. But having said that, when my Spanish gets to the stage where it's not totally embarrassing, I will love to chat to all you Spanish speaking
Oh, very
ladies
nice.
and gentlemen, and you can educate me and give me an accent. I've heard that the Argentinian accent is particularly nice. People have read that, but I
Thank you.
don't know enough myself to be able to, you know, hear, you know what I mean. So, but the guy I'm using, the videos I'm watching to teach me Spanish, the guy is a Brit, but he's living in Mexico, right? So it's South American, although he does explain when it's different from the Iberian Spanish. He does, you know, explain where there's differences. But you know, it'll be good to speak to natives, true natives, you know. So
Yes.
okay, right, getting back to the word list then.
Teacher, excuse me.
Hi.
This word cognizant is related to recognize.
Yes, I'm sure it is. I've never actually thought about that before you asked that question. Because if you put re in front of it,
Okay.
it would be, yeah. So let's look at that, right? Let's say recognizance is not a word I even knew existed. What's the difference?
Recognizance.
As adjectives, the difference between recognizant and cognizant is that recognizant is of pertaining to recognizance, is aware, fully informed, having understanding. So I've never even heard of this word, right? So don't learn that word because I've never heard it in my life, right? So forget that. But the question you asked was recognize, which we normally spell with an S. Cognizant versus recognize. Cognizant versus recognize, the difference, right? Let's look at this. So we've done this one, having cognizance or knowledge of, okay?
Okay.
Recognize is to show appreciation of, to review. So the normal meaning of recognize, the default meaning is, oh, I recognize Mona because I know what she looks like. I've seen her face.
Okay.
That's normal. That's a normal meaning. The majority meaning of recognize, right? But then there's also other meanings related, and the first one is to show appreciation of, right? So what I could do is I could say, as a teacher, I want to recognize Mona for the progress she's made in English.
Okay.
See, now in recognizing it, what I'm saying is I'm showing appreciation for.
Okay.
Because it's a fact that when we started, you couldn't understand a word I was saying.
Yes.
And you said, teacher, speak slowly, speak slowly. Whereas now I don't speak slowly, I just speak normal speed and you get me. Yeah, so there's clearly a history there of etymology, you know, where the words came from, that must be the same. They'll be coming from some Latin or Greek root, which I don't know what it is, but you know. Okay, that answers your question, Mona.
Yes, thank you very much.
Yes, because there's no point going into it more depth because English is a rabbit hole. We could go down and just talk about these words all night, right? So and we wouldn't cover anything else. So I don't want to do that today. So I just want to sort of cover these things.
Okay.
Borough. So borough is a very English word. I don't know if they use that word in America. I do point
Borough.
out different, yeah, borough, borough, borough,
Borough.
borough, yeah. And it sounds like this word here, thorough. See that? Borough and thorough.
And thorough.
Thorough, yeah, thorough. Now,
Thorough.
thorough means it's like diligent, right? Let's define it, right? Define thorough. Before we do it, I'll give you an example. Alan is very thorough when he cleans his motorcycle. When it's finished, it's spotless. That would be a good example. Thorough, it means very diligent. Yeah. Let's see, complete in regard to every detail, not superficial or partial. So Alan wants to learn Spanish thoroughly.
Thoroughly.
Thoroughly, yeah, thorough. Yeah, you see my tongue?
Thoroughly.
Yeah, your tongue is coming very much to the fore of your mouth under your teeth. Thorough.
Thorough. Thorough. Thorough. Thoroughly.
Yeah, you've got it. You got it. You want to say it, Mona?
Yes, thorough.
Thorough. Yeah, you've got it. Yeah, you can almost spit. You almost spit the word out. And in fact, that's another good English expression, spit it out. Have you ever heard that? Spit it out?
Oh.
Spit it out, right? Well, so this is really good. This is really good. So
Spit it out.
yeah, spit it out, right? So you know what the spit is? Like the spit would be to get saliva out of your mouth. You would see like footballers and football matches are always spitting. Yeah. And it's regarded as a disgusting habit. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. It's regarded as a disgusting thing. And you would certainly never spit at somebody. But in olden days, they used to spit at somebody who they despised. They would spit at somebody. That would be like, the most awful thing you could do to somebody else would be to spit at them.
As saying everything you think about that person. Spit it out.
No. No, you're jumping ahead. No, before we get, that's the metaphorical use. That's the metaphor. I'm just saying to spit, right? To spit.
Not that saying everything. No. Spit it out. Or saying everything you know about something.
No. How spit it out is used is, all right, right. Since you're so determined, you're impatient, right? I'm going to get to that.
Sorry.
I was going to get there, but since you can't wait, I'll tell you what spit it out means. Then we'll come back to spit, right? So to spit it out is if you are trying to express yourself, right? You're trying to express something. And you're kind of not really saying it. You're talking round about it. We sometimes say you're dancing around the handbags, right? You're just not saying it, right? And so a teacher might say, and they used to tell me this in school as well, they'll say, Alan, spit it out, which means say it. Say what's on your mind. You see? Get it?
Yeah. Okay.
So like somebody might be saying to me, oh, I'm thinking of leaving and going to a different job, and they talk around it and they're not really getting to it, right? And I might just say, can you just spit it out? Just tell me.
Oh, I understand.
Spit it out. So what you're doing is you're using the metaphor of spitting, right? Your saliva coming out of your mouth, as a metaphor for getting words out of your mouth, right?
Okay.
Right, now let's see what Google says, right? Used to urge someone to say or confess something quickly. Spit it out, man, I haven't got all day. There you go. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah, so we've got that. That's what spit it out meant. Now, so going back then, spitting generally is regarded as a disgusting habit. You don't spit, right? We would tell children off for spitting. Naughty boys might like to spit, but they would get slapped by mom and dad for doing that, right? That's not a nice thing to do. But sportsmen, particularly for some reason, footballers, when they're on if you ever see a football match, they're always spitting, they're spit, but the way I was brought up, that was disgusting. You didn't do that, okay?
Yeah.
Right. How did we get to spit? I don't know. So, thorough, we were on thorough. Yeah, and that's how we got to it, because I said spit. It's almost like spitting, right? Thorough. So thorough and burra are similar, but a burra, let's define what a burra is. It's a very innocuous, actually. There's a good word, innocuous. Come back to that. A town or district which is an administrative unit. British, a town, as distinct from a city, with a corporation and privileges granted by Royal Charter. So a borough is basically an area, right? That's what a borough is. A borough. Borough.
Burra.
Borough. Yeah, exactly. And I'll tell you another word that people can't pronounce. Edinburgh. If you ever hear Americans saying, they say Edinburgh, Edinburgh, they don't pronounce it right. Edinburgh is pronounced, so you may as well learn it right? It's Edinburgh.
Edinburgh.
Not Edinburgh. No, it looks like Berg. That's a good guess. When you look at it, you eyeball it and you see the G, but the GH is not a hard sound, right? And it's not even Edinburgh. It's not Edinburgh. It's Edinburgh. Burra. Yeah, so that's what I got there from burra. It's that burra sound. Burra. Edinburgh. Edinburgh. It's actually hard to say because it's 4 syllables, and Americans can't say it. They just don't say. They always say Edinburgh, but it's not Edinburgh. It's Edinburgh. Burra.
Edinburgh.
You got it. She's keen on it, isn't she? She's keen. Right, Mona's turn. Edinburgh. Are you on silent, maybe? Mona, you gonna have a go? Oh, she must have. She's left. She must have some comms problems. She'll be back in a minute. Here she comes.
Yes.
You're on mute, Mona.
Where is she from?
Iran.
Where is it?
Teacher.
Where is Iran? Hi, Mona.
Hi, excuse me. I had a problem with my VPN.
I know. I was going to ask you to say to pronounce Edinburgh.
Edinburgh.
Yeah, nearly, but it's Edinburgh.
Please repeat.
I'll do it slowly, right? 4 syllables, right? 4 syllables. I can't keep my pinky down, so I'll have to hold it down. Right? Okay, so 4 syllables. Edinburgh. Edinburgh. It's the last 2 are the hard bits. Burra. Watch my mouth. Burra. In Edinburgh.
Edinburgh.
That's it. You got it. Exactly. So you say that all together, and it's Edinburgh. So you just practice it.
Edinburgh.
Yes. Exactly. Exactly.
Thank
So
you.
if you practice, we have an expression: practice makes perfect. I'm sure you've heard that one. Practice makes perfect. So you practice it, and then you'll be very thorough with your pronunciation. Okay, time for a few more. Right, we've done Borough, we've done Thurrough, and then there's a few in between here, these words here, although and furlough. Although.
Although.
So it's like though, but it's although. Now watch my tongue, right? Although. So you bring your tongue
Although.
to the front of your mouth, and then you sort of pull it back quickly. So it's although. Let me hear it.
Although.
Yeah, that's pretty good for a Spanish speaker. That is pretty good. That is genuine comment, right? Mona will testify to the fact I don't really flatter. I tell you like it is, right? So although that's pretty good. Mona, you have a go. Although.
Although.
Yeah,
Although.
that's really, yeah. Although. Yeah. Right. So here we are, 3 people communicating from different parts of the world, Iran, Scotland, and Argentina. And we are speaking, although we come from different parts of the world. We're communicating, although. Make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. So the definition here is in spite of the fact that. So I could have said that like that. So here we are 3 people from different parts of the world, and we're speaking and communicating in spite of the fact that we are from different parts of the world. In spite actually is maybe something you don't know. Do you know that word spite? In spite of the fact. Do you know that word? Is that new? Might be. You know it? In spite. Yes. It's got different. What?
We
Pardon?
can say despite.
Say it again. Come again.
Teacher, we can say despite.
Despite. We can say despite. Yeah. Despite the fact. Yeah, we can say that. And spite means something actually different from that one. So we'll come back to that one. See, I could say, I have some friends in Iran, despite the fact that I have never been there. Yeah, despite. So let's define that one first of all. Without being affected by, in spite of. He remains a great leader despite age and infirmity. Despite. So it's a bit like a pivot. Yeah, it's something, even though something else is true, right? In spite, he remains a great leader despite the fact that he's old and infirm, but he's a good leader. Okay, so that would be the normal meaning of despite, and you could also say in spite of. So I could say, he remains a great leader in spite of the fact that he is old and a bit infirm. You would never say in spite of instead of despite directly. You would always say in spite of the fact or despite the fact. Right?
Okay.
These meanings here are archaic. I'm not going to teach you these, right? Because they're not really used much. What we would say in this context here, in the use, we would say despite him. So he did that to her despite her. To spite her, right? So spite, let's get to spite. And this is a difficult word. I think this is a difficult word to understand, right? A desire to hurt, annoy, or offend someone. He'd think I was annoying. He'd think I was saying it out of spite, i.e., he said it deliberately to hurt the other person. Right? That would be to spite someone. So I would never say anything to Mona to spite her,
Okay.
right? So I would never say anything deliberately to offend you. You might be offended at something I said, but it wouldn't be deliberate. It wouldn't be malicious on my part. It might be an oversight. It might be because I don't understand something about your culture, or I'm just clumsy, or because I'm a guy and not a gal, you know. But I wouldn't deliberately do it. You see. So that's how spite.
Okay.
But if somebody was a nasty person and they wanted to hurt other people, they might behave in a way to spite them. So here's two females in an office and one really can't stand the other. There's an intense rivalry. And so one of them does something to spite the other one, to spite them. In other words, she does something in order to somehow affect the other person.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yes, thank you.
I would
Yeah,
say
right.
this word is definitely advanced English, really advanced English, right? I mean, it's not a big word, it's not a complicated word in a certain sense, but like understanding it and the meaning of it, I think if you got your head around this word is good. You know, let's look at the definition here. This is a Wikipedia definition. To spite is to intentionally annoy, hurt, or upset, even when there might be no gain, or even when those actions might cause the person spiting harm as well. Spiteful words or actions are delivered in such a way that it's clear that the person is delivering them just to annoy or hurt. Right? So somebody,
Okay.
I mean, these people really exist, I mean, it seems a bit crazy that, but it's true, right? But that kind of behavior is, a good word is puerile. You won't know that word. Puerile. That's how you spell it. And puerile means childish. Childishly silly and immature. A puerile argument, right? A childish argument, right? Puerile. So nothing to do with pure, as in P-U-R-E, but puerile.
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 Puerile. No, no es.
Puerile. Yeah, you're saying it with an Irish accent. Very good. My bad. Okay, one more word. That's 5 o'clock now. So I've got to speak to people in work, so I need to go. But we'll do one more word. One more word. Furlough. There's a good word. That's been used a lot in the pandemic. Furlough. Furlough. So first of all, say it, and then we'll look at the definition. Say it. Say it. Angelica, you say it.
Furlough.
Furlough, that's it. Good. And Mona?
Furlough.
Furlough, yeah. Leave of absence, especially that's granted to a member of the services or a missionary, right? So let's say somebody the services is a reference to like the military, right? And a missionary is somebody who goes and spends a long time in another country, to spread their faith, right? That would be a missionary. So a missionary might go to Africa, but if they come home on furlough, if they come home for 2 months, that would be described as furlough, right? So it's like a break from an extended period. So it's normally an extended break. It's not like a vacation, but it's an extended break for a longer period of time from normally long service. Whereas in normal life, you work and you have occasionally some vacation days, right? So in the West, we get a lot of vacation days. Like I get 30 days. It's amazing, right? But in America, you only get about 12 or 15 days vacation a year. They're quite mean. They're quite mean when it comes to vacation. If you go to Europe, they are very generous. They're very socialist and they're very generous with their vacation. Yeah. And if you go to like China, you get like 3 days. They expect you to work all the time, right? Yeah, they expect you to work. So it's just different countries and different cultures. And then, like, I know for a fact in talking to my Iranian friends that you have lots of religious holidays, and like, you know, you get lots of days off for your religious holidays. Yeah.
Yes.
You know, loads of time, you know, and the
Yes.
Israelis, the Jews do the same, the Israelis. So it's just different cultures have different approaches, right? So normally you work, you're located in a country. Normally it's the country you were born in, and then you have occasional vacation. But somebody who goes somewhere else on a mission, like a missionary or in services, somebody is deployed to, you know, Argentina, you know, for scientific investigation or whatever.
Mm.
Then they're there for 3 years, but they came home for 2 months furlough. See, that's how that's
Okay.
used, furlough. And when people were out of work because of the pandemic, you know, lots of businesses like the travel sector just completely shut down. You know, there wasn't planes and boats, and because nobody was going anywhere, everyone had to stay home. So all these people, many of them were put on furlough. So rather than being fired or made redundant, the companies put them on furlough, which means you're going on an extended break and we'll pay you, but we won't pay you your full salary. We'll pay you 60% or 80% of your salary. You don't have to do anything work-wise for that money.
That's
Okay.
great.
Yeah, yes, that's what happened in Britain, and a lot.
Yes.
And you know, it wouldn't happen in India. I don't know about Iran, but it wouldn't happen in India. And in India, you just go cold. You just go hungry, right? There's no social services. But in a country like Britain, there's lots of social services, so they don't want anybody to go hungry. So if you haven't got any money, the state will feed you, you know, whatever, you know. So that's furlough. Okay, I'll draw a line under that this evening. So what I'll do is I will stop the share and then I'll pause the recording.